Hello. So I'm giving a small demo on the ICSR Xforms editor, that is the individual study report editor. So basically what we have done is we have divided all the patient data in three tabs: header, patient data, and AE assessment tab. So the header tab basically contains data related to the person who is sending this report, the author, and then it has the investigation data. The case type data, metadata still needs to be added. Then there is text related to the investigation. This also can be a rich text. Then there is investigation status, date on which the investigation is performed. The role can be patient or customer. And then there can be patient details like name of patient, his date of birth, gender, etc. So this basically covers the header tab. Now let's go to the patient data tab. Patient data tab has the drug use data, devices used, and the clinical observations. Now we have divided this particular information in two tabs. So that it is easier to navigate, and it is also easier to add the adverse event assessment. The drug use data contains the information about the drug, its manufacturer, the manufacturing date, expiry date, its product specifications, and then it can have ingredients and related data. So the important thing, or rather the things which we have newly added here, are the responsible person, performer, and the drug action. So let's have a look at the instance XML to understand how we have mapped this data. So here I'm looking at the substance administration block, which from which we have created the drug use data. So the substance administration block has route code, dose quantity, etc., which we have mapped. And then so this data, this has been created from the wireframes which have been given by Gunther, but the additional data which we have added is the performer. Now this is the block, performer block, with the type code PRF, which has been mapped which has been mapped to the performer block here. This can actually be the performer who is actually performing that particular operation, or it could also be the person who is actually taking that drug. Then responsible person is the person who is responsible for that particular operation. It could be a physician. So this is again done with the help of participation type code equal to RESP, that is for responsible. And then we have also created the drug action, which is the interaction of the drug and what happens after a particular person has taken that drug. Something like let's say a person has taken a drug, and then the outcome of that that particular action is given in drug outcomes. So this particular data is taken from the target of 2 block, which has the code and the text, the exact description of what happened. One thing, we're not sure if responsible person, performer, and drug action needs to be part of drug use, because if you want to reuse the same drug across multiple ICSR reports, then this particular data is specific to this particular event. For that person, what action happened, and maybe on UI it can stay here, but at the backend it should have been at some other place. So this is about drug use. Then device use has the device that was used. It has the data related to the device. Again, this is some part of it is taken from SPLs, and it's not that detailed because characteristics are still not there. since we do not have the metadata which is needed for characteristics. And then there is clinical observation, which which basically captures the data, the observation data. It has the parameters like weight, age, etc., weight, height, etc. Then there could be rich text which actually describes the details about the observation. Again, I feel that there should be more data in the observation blocks, and we are missing a lot of data in here because we are not very sure about the mappings yet. And then one could add the adverse event assessment block from here. So one can select more than one drugs and one particular observation, and one can link them together and form the AE assessment block by clicking on the add AE assessment button. So once we add that, there will be a message saying adverse event assessment is added with the selected observation and products. And we have also done some error handling wherein one can, if one doesn't select the right options, it will show the error message that AE assessment not added. Please select products as well as observations to add AE assessment. So the reason we have used checkboxes is one needs to select multiple drugs. The existing instance had an AE assessment wherein 4 drugs were already used. The reason to have checkboxes is in order to for the able to select multiple objects at the same time. So this is pretty much about this tab. Now let's go to the adverse event assessment tab where the adverse event data has been added. So this one actually lists the observation and the products together, their references, so user has option to add AE assessment directly from this tab also or from the patient data tab. So user can change data, the references in this tab. Whenever we have selected a particular observation, we show the text data so that it is clear what observation the user has added. And causality assessment is basically the drug data, and one can also change drug data here. Again, this case type is metadata is missing, and right now we have added just 2 dummy case types. And also the author data, not sure if this author data needs to be present at this particular instance. Again, we list all the products in the drop down, and one can select a particular product, or one can rather change the reference of the product from here. That will change the AE assessment block. So the first AE assessment does not have a delete or clone button. The reason for the same is in the instance XML, all the drug and device data is under the first adverse event assessment block. So we can see here the adverse event assessment block. This in completion. So this entirely contains all the drug and device data. So this is the reason we haven't provided a delete button here. Otherwise the entire drug and device use data would go away. And again, you can see that one can select a single observation and multiple drugs related to that observation. This behavior can very well be changed. And we can map as many different kinds of use cases here. So I think this is pretty much what we have done till now. the main focus or the main missing things which are still which still need to be added are the details related to clinical observation, and then the metadata pieces which are missing. And we were also not sure about how to map certain subject of or target of blocks which are there in the instance XML. So basically this instance XML served as input for both the form 3500 and form VARS. We are using the same instance XML and not sure if the instance XML should be modified to suit to ICSR forms. The way we have done it right now is we have studied the instance XML which was already there, and we have studied the E2B ICSR E2B to ICSR transform, and based on that we have mapped various blocks. So this is pretty much it. So thank you.